The sons and daughters of Nicholas and Chrysavi. Angelique, born in 1897. George, born in 1898. Michael, born in 1900. Despina, born in 1903. Christos, 1904. Vasilios, 1906. Maria, 1910. And Yoria, 1917.
Okay.
We start with Angelique. What do we know about Angelique?
There's nothing. She was 10 months old when she died. I think it must have been crib death.
Crib death?
Yes, because they didn't know what she died of. They just found her dead in her bed.
Well, then let's talk about George.
George went to, he was put in private school. He lived in a private school, Leon Dioscoli in Athens. The reason he was put there, I'll tell you the story, was when he was about 8 years old, Pooh had to go out on some business, and he left him to watch The Office. Well, he looked, just as any child would be curious to look, he looked around and he opened up one of the big trunks or, let's say, dresser drawers or something like that, and he found some money in there. So he took 2 drachmas and he left the office and he went and bought himself some candy and came back. Well, Babu saw, he discovered, and he, of course, he told him that he took the 2 drachmas and he got some candy. So Babu got so angry at this child that didn't have the maturity to watch the store without getting into any mischief that he took him home and he built a fire with hay and he hung him upside down. Grandmother told me this. He hung him upside down and he smoked him for a while. He was lucky he didn't kill the kid. And then the next day he took him to Athens and he put him in the boarding school so he would become a mature man. And that's where he went until he finished high school. And then he went to business school.
So during the school year, he must have stayed away.
He stayed away, and he came only on holidays. And grandmother says she felt many times as though he thought himself a stranger. And of course, he had picked up the Athenian way of speaking.
Yeah.
And he spoke real good, nice Greek, and he was polite and everything. And of course, he noticed that Uncle Mike used to just grab the food from the table and eat as much as he wanted. And he tried many times to admonish him, and Uncle Mike would make fun of his speaking.
Yeah. And, sounds about right.
Yes, and well, he finished that school and he went to business school. And then when he came back to Lamia, Papu made him the vice president of his bank. Papu owned a bank. And he made him vice president. Now, this was at the age of about 18 years old. Because at 19, he went, into the service, and that's when the new government came to Greece, and they exiled the king and the queen and the family, and they jailed or punished the people who were the antipolitevsis. How do you say that in English?
The opposite political view.
The opposite political view.
I think we ought to say here, for instance, so that for further understanding of the rest of the family's history, that they were royalists.
Yes.
And
they were royalists. Grandfather was a party leader.
Yeah.
In the Stonomos Theotidos Kefokiddos.
Right. he was in that area. He was politically one of the prominent people.
Yes.
So,
And then, since this new government, which was led by Eleftherios Venizelos, forbade any mention of the royal family, it was a crime to sing any songs of that the royalists had
yes.
written. And Uncle George and 6 of his friends, now they were in the service now, so
Right.
they were under government rule.
Right.
And 7 of them one day started singing a song that was royalist, and they were arrested and jailed and executed.
Made an example of.
Yes. And they were executed. So he was executed at the age of 19.
And that was in
1917.
Yeah. And the next youngest son was Michael.
Yes.
Michael, when
Michael went to engineering school, he was a genius. He went to engineering school when he was 15 years old. And he became an engineer. But then he decided to go to the army. Right. So he went into the military academy, and he became an officer of the engineering corps in Greece. And that was his career.
Yeah. In fact, he was during the 30s. He was in charge of the railroads.
Yes, he was in charge. He was a captain then.
Yeah.
He was captain of the railroads, because the railroads in Greece are run by the government.
They were run by the army, actually.
Yes.
They had other employees, but
well, they had civilian employees, but the army was in charge of everything.
Right.
And he
maintained the roads and the equipment, and they actually managed the whole operation.
Yes.
Well, Michael was in Albania during World War II.
Yes.
And the Greeks had moved well into Albania, and when he came home after the war, his legs, you remember, were black because he had frozen.
He had bad circulation too. Yes.
And he was not able to go to Egypt with the Greek army when they left Greece.
And who became the resistance at the time. But he, though, belonged to a resistance group, and he was helping others go to Egypt to get away.
Right. I remember that. But finally, he was murdered by.
He was murdered by the communists.
In 1944, in September of 1944. And I was living in Faliero at that time, and they had taken his body to Piraeus, to the morgue. And I went there with, what was the old man's name?
Mr. Chivilakos.
Mr. Chivilakos. He and I we walked from Faliero to Piraeus, and we went to the morgue where we had to identify Uncle Mike. And he had been shot through the temple. And after I didn't know this at the time, but after the war, it became known that he had been posthumously made a colonel, right?
No, he was a colonel. He got hired. Finally, when the war was over, they made him He was a.
Look at the paper that day.
Wait a minute, major.
He was a major.
He was a major. He became a colonel, and then they gave him a higher. Uh, he was a lieutenant colonel, and they made him a colonel.
Made him a colonel.
No, Dogmatardis is lieutenant colonel. No, that's a major. So, yeah, they made him a colonel. You're right.
For his contribution to the national resistance during the war.
Yes.
It was in 1946, December of 1946. Two years after his death. Okay, then the third child was Despina, who was our mother.
Yes.
I hadn't heard anything about her schooling, Katie. She just
No.
probably went to.
Maybe to about 6th grade or so. I don't know. Really, but she did learn how to sew and how to embroider and all that to, I guess, to
She's
get
a
ready.
good cook.
Yes, to get ready for to be a wife and a mother.
Yeah, and a disciplinarian.
Yes, yes.
She was very good at that, and did not spare the rod at all.
Spare the rod, are you kidding?
But when we were kids, she also had us do, what do they call that, cross-stitching?
Cross-stitching, so we would, that was when the weather was bad and we couldn't go out. So to keep us out of her hair, she had us cross-stitching, and you did better than I did.
Yeah, she's pretty good at cross-stitching.
Remember the time when we lit birthday candles in our bedroom and put them on the windowsill, and she had pretty fancy, real light material curtains.
I don't remember
and they caught on fire, and we started screaming. And she came, she put out the fire, and then she we wanted to play birthday with the candles on the windowsill.
Yeah. And I used to take violin lessons when I was a kid, and I never did like it. I wish she'd lived long enough to make me learn. But I did learn a bit. In fact,
Sure, you were in a couple of recitals.
Recitals, yeah.
Yes.
At White.
You didn't
YWCA.
like it, but you didn't like it, but you did okay.
Yeah, I did pretty
yes.
well. It's only after she died and then didn't have any pressure on me that I quit. But I remember one time Mr. Drummond was the teacher. He came over to the house, and I went and locked myself up in the bathroom and wouldn't come out for the lesson. So she finally made excuses, I guess, and then she came up and she tried to get in and couldn't because I had locked it from the inside. So she went downstairs and got a meat cleaver and came up. Do you remember that? When I saw that blade come through the door, I was really worried.
Did you play the violin?
Yeah, I didn't miss any more lessons. It was something else.
Well, I remember the time. Well, I don't exactly remember it. Catherine Annis told us the story about the time you were about 3 years old or something, and she had taken you to downtown to do shopping. and you wanted her to buy you some kind of a toy, which she couldn't buy for you and carry on the tram. Or maybe she didn't have the money for it, I don't know. But you kept crying and screaming and telling her you wanted the toy. So when she brought you home, she went straight down to the basement. She opened the door of the furnace, and Catherine says if she wasn't there, you would have been cooked.
Been roasted.
I don't know if she would have done it, but maybe she wanted to scare you.
I'm sure she wouldn't have done it.
But she was, yeah, that one.
Must have really been tempting.
Oh, well, I guess sometimes when a kid cries all the way, you become embarrassed, which of course it's just one of those things that humans have. They become embarrassed when a baby cries, and they shouldn't really.
Yeah.
But then it gets on your nerves, and you don't know what you're doing.
Of course, she was always kind of homesick for going home.
Oh, yes, she did. She really didn't like it here in the United States. And that's why we went in 1931. When
Yeah,
we
we
went
made a trip there.
Yes, and we stayed there for 7 months.
Yeah.
And then we came back. At the time, they had decided that we were going to go and stay a while and see how it was. And she wanted Dad to sell everything that he had and come to Greece to live in Greece. But then after we were there for the 7 months, she wasn't happy in Greece and she wanted to return to the United States. And she sent Dad a telegram not to sell anything because she was coming back. So we came back to the United States. Then, of course, we went back in 1936, and she had Nick.
Yeah. We went back, I think, around May, wasn't it?
No, it was August.
August?
Yes, we arrived in Greece the 10th of August of 1936.
And Nick was born
He was born the 21st of December, 1936. And she died the 7th of January, 1937.
Right. And they, I don't know if they ever told you, but they never did tell me about her death.
No, they didn't tell me either.
Yeah. We just kind of found out after
a while. At first they
told,
they told us that she came to the United States to get better. And this one time I was in, you remember how Yaya's house was?
Yeah.
And the back part was where they had their big
living room.
Dining room and living room, where I had gone in there one day to find some candy or something, because that's where they kept everything. And I went and I found these invitations with the black border around them. And of course we didn't know how to read Greek that well at that time, but I could read that it said something about my beloved daughter, beloved wife of George Vontsolos, and it was a memorial service. Because at the time, they used to send out invitations to memorial services. You didn't just go when you heard that there was a memorial service of a friend or somebody that you knew. You had to go by invitation. So I took it and I brought it to Thea Yurgia and I asked her what that was. At that time then, I had an inkling that maybe she had died, but Yurgia said, oh, that's not, that's an old one, that's from your grandmother's mother. And so I just dismissed it. But one time when we went back to Faliero, this was all in Lamia, but we went back to Athens to Faliero, I had a friend that lived across the street, Bella. You remember Olga Clemendido,
Yeah,
the
right.
chubby girl?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And we were very good friends, but we used to have our fights. And this one time, when she got mad at me, she said, "I'm not supposed to tell you this secret, but you've made me very mad. You know your mother is dead," and I went to her funeral. And so I really was. It was verified to me that mother was dead. Of course, I went in crying and I told Yaya, and Yaya talked to Mrs. Clemendido, and Bella got a big beating, and I was happy. That goes to show how the mind of a child works.
That's really, I'm not sure what they were trying to do, but
Well, they were trying, I guess, to get us uh, uh, to get used to them because we weren't used to them. And they wanted that. They didn't know how to handle the fact that we had to stay with them. And I guess this is why they did that. And eventually, I suppose they intended to tell us. And then, of course, we got letters from Dad, and Dad mentioned Mother's death. I guess everybody thinks they're doing the best.
Yeah,
They don't.
I'm not sure when I became aware of it, but I became aware of it eventually. I was really very homesick at the time for coming back to the States when I was a little kid. I just reading the letters I used to send to my dad. He kept them. And I didn't feel that way later on, but at that time I was really homesick.
Oh, sure.
But he seemed to think that the best thing for us was to stay here.
To stay in Greece, you mean?
To stay in Greece, I mean, yeah. Well, anyway, our mother had a brother who was perhaps maybe a year younger than her, whose name was Christos, or Chris. And it's spelled the same way as Christ is, but it has the
accent.
The accent
on
is
Christos instead of
on
Christos.
The first syllable instead of the second one. Christ is Christos in Greek, and his name was Christos. And he was probably about a year younger than Mother. I don't know too much about Christos.
I don't either. I don't know what he was sent to private schools, and he had a good education too, just like all the boys did. But I don't know very much about him. The only thing I know was that he was inducted into the army, and he started doing well, anything, I guess any young man would do crazy things. He was trying to antagonize the new government, and grandfather was afraid that he might get arrested
Made an example
and made an example of, as the older son was. So he paid some agent or somebody, and they got him a passport with a forged, it was a forged passport, and he traveled to Panama under the name of Christos Kapos.
Yes.
That was instead of Papadoyorgos. And that's just about all I know about him. I don't know anything more.
I don't know much about him either, except that he had written Mother while we were here.
Yes.
Before we went to Greece.
Yes.
And I think Dad had sent him some money.
He said he wanted to come here, and they sent him money to come, but he never did come.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, after Christus, they had one more son, Basil. In Greek, it's Vasilios. Was born in 1906, I think. And he too was pretty well educated.
Yes, he had finished in Anotati Boriki. What is that?
Well, it was a business school. I guess if they gave a title to it today, they would call it business management school. And he had gotten his degree in that. And
he was supposed to be the one to help Babu with his business.
With his business, but yes. He really wasn't that stable a guy.
No. He got into, while he was in university or college, whatever you call it, he got in with the wrong crowd, and he became a gambler. That's what he was.
Yeah.
And so whenever he would get jobs, or when he did go back to work for Babu, he used to work and take his money and take some of Babu's money too and go and gamble.
And take some risks, yeah.
Yes, he took big risks. Once in a while he would get terrific jobs. He was a smart man. He knew how to go and get jobs through the government and stuff. And he would make a lot of money, but he would gamble it all and lose it, and then not pay his creditors, and he would end up in custody.
I remember he had a big business up in the northern part of Greece. There was a contract of sorts that he had with the government to make coal out of charcoal, that is, out of the trees that they were taking down up around the border. They were clearing it in order to improve their defenses, and he had a contract with the government to do that. He made a lot of money. But he didn't last him very long.
No, because he gambled it. He didn't pay his workers, and then they didn't want to work for him, so he lost the contract from the government.
Of the sons, of our uncles, he was the only one that ever got married. He got married for a short time, divorced.
Yes, he was married.
I can't remember her name.
Alexandra. I remember her. Alexandra. Yes.
She was a nice-looking woman.
Do you know that finally after the war, she used to come and visit because she liked the family and the family liked her. They didn't blame her for the divorce. He was just unstable. And when she knew that he wouldn't be around, she'd come and visit. So during the war, after the war, she married. She finally remarried, and she had a couple of kids.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, we used to call her Thea Alexandra whenever we saw her because she was our aunt. Yeah, he was the only one that married. And as a matter of fact, he became engaged several times, but never went through with the marriages, thank God.
Yeah.
So,
but in any case, in the latter part of his life, he was just a burden to the rest of the family.
To burden to Thea,
to Aunt Georgia, whom we haven't gotten to yet.
Yes.
But he died in 1984.
85.
85.
The spring of 85 he died,
Well, after Basil, our Aunt Maria was born on July 20th, 1910. She was a local beauty, wasn't she?
Yes, she was Miss Lamia.
Right.
In 1929.
1929.
Yes. When she was 19 years old.
And And she's still living today. When was it? About 1930, she married
She married Constantine,
Constantine, who owned the local flour mill.
which
Well, he used to be our
belong to her
grandfather.
grandfather, and she got that as her dowry.
As her dowry, yeah.
Yes.
Apparently, they considered Kostas Stadiopoulos to be quite a catch.
Yes.
Although he was I don't know what you'd call him. He was a lawyer by profession, and he had actually been to France for part of his studies
Oh,
too.
yes, yes.
And in any case, let's get back to Maria. She probably had an ordinary education like all the girls did.
Yeah, she went up to she went up to junior high. She finished junior high.
Yeah. And then she had 2 sons and a daughter, Chris, Nick, and Effie.
Effie, yes.
Maria didn't really have a very happy life with her husband. Her husband was I'm not sure how you describe him, but he was a philanderer, and he drank a lot. He drank a lot, and he was a tyrant. And he came from a very well-to-do family. From an economic point of view, they owned a lot of property.
And as far as economically, she was okay. Mary,
yeah, right.
She was well-to-do, but as far as her life, her married life, it wasn't a happy one.
Yeah. He was probably an alcoholic. He used to wake up at night and drink and smoke cigarettes and drink coffee.
He was a chain smoker.
Chain smoker, yeah.
Remember when he used to light one cigarette from the other?
Right.
He used one match in the morning.
Yeah.
That was it. One match in the morning. Even during dinner, he used to smoke. Remember?
Yeah. It was something else. Well, Aunt Mary is still living today. She has her health problems, and I guess primary among her problems are her problems with her eyes. Yes. She has glaucoma, right?
No, her cataracts didn't. Her eyes, they couldn't. What's that thing that comes loose in your eye?
You mean her lenses are all clouded up? That's what a cataract is.
Yes, well, she's had the operation on both her eyes, but a detached retina she has on one of them, and she has lost the sight of that one eye. She only has sight in the one eye. Of course, she has heart trouble and everything, but that's why they don't want to operate on this eye again, because they worry about her heart. Her heart is very weak.
Don't they have lasers over there?
I don't know. I really don't know. You'd think they would.
Yeah.
But maybe even the laser can't do anything. Because they tried to attach the retina stuff, but they couldn't do it. They tried several times. They couldn't actually put her out and operate on her. So maybe they did use the laser because of her heart.
Well, whatever property or anything they had, they've lost it one way or another. Through their children or themselves, they really don't have much left.
No, well, she has what she got from when they gave the property in, and each one of them got 6 apartments.
Yeah.
Well, she still has hers, and I think the boys do. Effie is the one who has sold all of her property, as far as I know. But the boys and Tia Maria still has those.
Okay, but she lives with Aunt Georgia.
She lives with Aunt Georgia.
In
yes.
her apartment.
In Aunt Georgia's apartment.
Yeah.
Yes.
So she must rent the other.
I assume she
property.
does. Yes.
Are they in Lamia or?
Yes, the properties are in Lamia.
Mm-hmm.
But she lives with Aunt Georgia in Aunt Georgia's apartment in Athens.
Yeah.
Well, they've lived in Athens now for the past 40-some years.
Yeah, right.
They left Lamia.
Well, let's talk about Georgia. She was the youngest.
She was the baby
right.
of the family.
She was born in 1917.
Yes.
In October the 18th.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
She was named after her brother, who was killed in 1917 during the year she was born.
Mm-hmm. And she hadn't been baptized before he was executed, so they decided to name him.
Name her. Georgia. Georgia.
Yeah. No, you know how they decided to do? Well, it was because of him, but before they executed him, he was able to see the three, Vasilis, Maria, and Thea Georgia, and Thea Stavroula. They were the only ones that weren't put in jail because Papu, Yaya, Mother, Mike was, I guess, still in school. I don't know where he was. But Papu, Yaya, and Mother were jailed during this
period,
the period when the new government took over. And they were in jail when Uncle George was executed. So he took Aunt Georgia in his arms, and he hugged her, and he said, "You'll never know me, but I want them to name you after me." So she was named Georgia, which means George it's the female for George.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Georgia.
Yes. Well, I think Aunt Georgia went up to, she finished 6th grade, and then she stopped because they stopped her. The doctors recommended that schooling was too much for her because she was a very sickly child. So she was tutored at home after the 6th grade, and she took some French, which she continued, which she had to stop, and then she continued when we went back to Greece. She was taking French with Kira, her friend Kira Tevelapo, and she took piano. She was very good at that too. Remember her taking the piano lessons?
And singing.
And singing lessons, yes. Singing, classical singing, not regular singing. And she was the one on whom the burden fell to raise us.
Right.
At 18 years old.
She was 18
years old.
Just 8 years older than me.
Yeah.
And she was a disciplinary.
She was a good one too, wasn't she?
Right. And didn't have to use her hands much.
No, she didn't. Every now and then with me she did. I don't know if she ever did with you. No, she didn't.
Oh yeah, she slapped me once or twice.
Oh, well, that's about as much as she slapped me too. Because I didn't want to go to school. That was my... I didn't want to go to school. But she took care of us all through the war. Of course, grandmother was there for a while, but then she passed away. And Uncle Mike had to leave Lamia and go to Athens because that's where he did his the work that he did during the war. What did we say that
Resistance.
was? The resistance work. And it wasn't safe for him to stay in Lamia anyway because the communists could have taken him up in the mountains. So she saw to it that we were taken care of during the war.
Yeah.
Of course, we had to go and work on Uncle Gus's farm because if we didn't work, he refused to give us the corn and the wheat that we needed to survive. Because at the time, money was of no value, even if you had it.
Everything you got through
Everything you
bartering.
got was through bartering.
Yeah.
And you would give wheat to somebody who sold butter, and he would give you the butter. And the same thing with shoes or anything like that extra. As far as the groceries and meat and fish and poultry, you had to stand in line at the butcher shop to get that, and that you bought with the money that the German government had. We used the German money during the war years,
which was inflated very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Inflation was really rampant there. What money you had, or earned, you didn't dare save it because it wouldn't be worth anything.
Right.
If it's not worth much today, it's worth even less tomorrow.
Uh-huh. Can we check and see how this thing is doing now? I like to hear our voice.